Why is confidence something that you earn through your own actions? Most of you guys, chances are, have looked up on YouTube at some point in time, how do I become more confident? Or have been interested in becoming more confident because, as you might have been before, like I have, I was a very shy, introverted, very selfishly centered individual. And over the past 4 years, I've spent a lot of time improving my skills as a man, improving my skills in terms of how I carry myself, the confidence I have, the self-esteem I have, and the respect I have for myself. And today I wanted to really briefly talk about how you can do the same and what lessons and what things that you can take out of this for yourself so that you can know for certain, okay, these are the things I need to do if I want to increase my levels of confidence, and why is that something I need to earn through trials and tribulations. So let's zoom back 4 years ago. I was living in France, living in my parents' house, playing video games all day, staying inside, not really doing anything productive with my time, okay? And at this point, I was looking into different high-income skills that I could learn in order to become a more valuable individual. And so I started learning these things, and I noticed there was so many glaring issues with my approach and my own personal skills as an individual. Like every single time I would hop on a call with a client, I would be stressed out of my mind. I wouldn't know what to say, what to do, and I would be extremely paranoid that they would just sense that and they would basically tell me to fuck off, basically. So what did I do in order to overcome that? Very simply, I just did more of that. It's not that complicated. What you need to understand is that the more reps that you do within the same thing, it's like playing a video game. When you start playing a video game, you're super shit at it. You have no confidence and you don't know what the fuck you're doing. And it might be less socially, it might make you less socially anxious by being shit at the video game, but you still have this fear in the back of your mind of, what if somebody thought I was shit? And it's fine. It's actually fine that other people think that and know that you are shit at the current state that you are in, because you can improve, you can get better. So the mindset you need to have for yourself is be willing to fail, to learn. Be willing to fuck it up so many times that you learn from that. Be willing to go through trials and tribulations and problems and all this shit and hard work in order to put yourself in the headspace of, I've done all this stuff. Doing an extra rep is so easy now. And you just start to carry yourself in a very different way. And so you need to think for yourself, okay, what have I been avoiding? What have I been shit at that if I was good at it would bring me confidence in myself, self-confidence, self-esteem? But also, how can I do more of it? How can I exceed my current level that I'm at? These are the types of questions that I used to ask myself over and over and over and over again. And at a certain point, confidence is only earned through your hard work. Real confidence. Not faking it, not coming up with fucking whoop-de-doo. Not real confidence. Earned confidence is way more valuable, because you know that you are capable of doing something. You know that you have done hard things. You know that you are the kind of person that can see things through to the very end. And I got to a point in my life where, after investing 4 years of going through some shit times, sometimes where in my bank account I had like $1 or like 15 cents, to now being in a quite stable position and being very confident in my own ability to get things done. Now, the second thing that I heavily recommend everybody, and I've made a couple of videos on this subject actually, is becoming very good at social interaction. Now, I was completely and utterly shit at social interaction. And how did I get better at it? Well, very simply, I learned a couple of things online, then I would go out there into the world, and then I would throw myself and stop caring. Throw myself at conversations, talking to people, interrupting people, learning from people, listening to people, and just going through that repeatedly, like every single day. Just boom, 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 boom. And after doing that for almost 2 years now, because the first 2 years I did most of what I was doing online, and the second 2 years I mostly focused on improving my social skills, because when you are starting your own business, it is very important that you become very able at social interaction so that you can get people to buy what you're selling. Otherwise, it's very hard to make any kind of sales whatsoever, unless you're running some kind of e-com store, I guess, maybe. There's a few exceptions, of course, but in my line of work, it is extremely important because I need to talk to clients. I need to have relationships with them. I need to be the kind of guy that can lead the relationship. So I need to know what I'm doing. And for that, I need to have the confidence to back it up. So what did I end up doing? I ended up going through, first off, I started this YouTube channel actually quite some time ago. I don't remember exactly, but I started posting on it maybe 3 or 4 years ago. And at this time I was like just getting better at English, because I'd spoken French my entire life. Now I've flown over to New Zealand, so now this is where I'm living at. But at the time I was just practicing my social skills in front of the computer. I would just record myself, like speak in front of the camera for like 10, 20, 30 minutes a day, every single day for like a year straight. And then I flew over to New Zealand and I was like, you know what, I'm not actually that good yet at social interaction. So what did I do? Instead of reaching out to businesses online to say, hey, I'm selling this, would you like some? Instead, I went in person to a bunch of different businesses and asked, hey, I was looking up the business online, I've been doing this, would you be, like, do you think the owner would be interested in talking about this that I'm selling or not? And then would go from there, and I would just get rejected after rejected after rejected. No, we're not interested. No, we're not looking for that. No, please, get the fuck out the store. Like, we don't care. Like, what the fuck? Like, no. Like, sorry, I don't really speak English or whatever. And I was like, dude, this is fucking shit, bro. I went through like probably like 100 reps of this, and then I got my first paid client through that, and I was like, wow. So that's what it's going to take. Okay. And then I just decided to do more. So I had my client that I was working with, and then I was doing a little bit of outreach on the side, and then at a certain point I went back in more to do more in-person outreach because I noticed I wasn't good enough yet. So I just started doing more and that, and more and more and more. And the more I did it, the more comfortable I felt doing it. And this level of comfort comes from my skill level increasing. And that it gives me such a level of confidence whenever I walk up to a discussion and I know exactly what I'm talking about. And I am firm and, how do you say this? Yeah, I'm firm in my grasping of what I'm talking about. I know what I want. I know what kind of outcome I want to produce with this conversation. So I got very good at social interaction with different business owners, men and women. And then from there, it spiraled into my dating life. So at this point, I was also asking out a bunch of women, and I was talking to a lot of women at the time, and I got a lot of different experiences. So basically, before coming to New Zealand, I had never really dated anybody in France ever during my first 21 years over there. From the day I was born to the day I left for New Zealand, I never actually dated anybody over there. So what did I end up doing here is talked with a bunch of women, would approach them in the street, approach them at a coffee shop, approach them at the gym, whatever it may be. I looked at that and I was like, you know what? I don't actually care if the interaction goes good. I actually just want to learn from my mistakes. I'm just gonna fuck it up a bunch of times, and that's fine. Because this is the mindset I've developed in my own business, okay? In business, if you want to become better at business, you need to be willing to go through a bunch of shit in order to fail a bunch of times in order to be better at it. So what did I end up doing? Very simply, date after date after date, I would analyze everything and I would be like, okay, these are the mistakes I've made. This is how I can do better next time. And I would go next time and I would do that again. And I would repeat that probably like a couple times a week, a couple times a month. And over the course of like a couple months, I managed to get into a good relationship with one of my most, I guess, good-ish relationships so far. And then I noticed that there was a few glaring issues with her and it wasn't actually going to work out. So I just told her, hey, never mind, like I'm good. Like I already talked about this subject, but I basically said, you know what, actually I told myself I don't think I would be a good fit with this person, and this person wouldn't be a good fit for what I'm looking for, because at this time I was defining so many different things: my principles, my standards, who I am, what does that look like, what kind of person I want to surround myself with. And she had a few good qualities, but the problem is at some point in time she started losing interest. And so that made me think, okay. And she would get angry every single time I would talk about other women in my life, and I would be like, what? How the fuck are you so insecure? Like, why do you care? I'm telling you because I trust you. Like, I'm not telling you to make you jealous on purpose. Like, what the fuck what the fuck are you talking about? Like, and so there was a lack of communication because we didn't really have the time. And then she went on a kind of like a work trip, vacation thing, somewhere else for like 3 months. And then I was like, okay, well, obviously that's fucking over. So just dropped it. So that was a very good lesson. But at the same time, every single woman I've dated over the past maybe like 2 years, roughly, I've noticed key tips and tricks in the game, right? And I've mapped out a bigger chunk of the game itself. This is the same thing I'm talking about in business. So like mapping out a big chunk of it gives you, it's like playing a video game. You know the map, you know the outline, you know the places where the loot spawns, you know where the boss is going to be, you know everything. The more things you know, the more confident you are, and the more risks you're willing to take, because you know the outline, you know the map, you know, you have the intel. And so this last thing I wanted to talk about, which it actually is going to help you develop this confidence and earn it faster, is to become more intelligent, more informed about what you're looking at and what you would like to be confident in. So if you have your dating life and your dating life sucks and you're not really good at it, you're super shy or you're super awkward or you're super unsuccessful, what I suggest you do is you look up a bunch of videos online. This is what I did. I looked up a bunch of people's perspectives and I came up with my own version, and then I would go out there and test it, and then I would fail, and then I would come back, look at a couple things, go out there, fail again, come back, look at a couple things, listen to a couple people, go out there, fail, and then one day I succeeded, and I was like, you know what, actually what I've been learning actually makes perfect sense. I just needed the right valuable pieces of information that I could apply to my own life. And by applying this, I became better at the video game, better at the game of dating, better at the game of business. And this is the exact same thing as when I was playing video games before. Because I'll tell you exactly, and maybe one day I might make a video with my dad, because he knows exactly what I'm talking about here when I talk about this kind of stuff, which is, at some point I was playing only a single video game all the time, which was Warhammer Total War 3. And some of you might know this game, some of you might not. I might have spoken it a couple of times in these videos, but basically it was a strategy, a real-time strategy game. So basically you would have the campaign map, which was turn-based, and then you would have the battle map, which was real-time. So you had to move your units, you had to move your commander, you had to move your stuff, whatever. You got archers, you got the cavalry, you got whatever. And so Total War Warhammer 3 was more of a fantasy game. So you get magic, you get monsters, you get a bunch of stuff. And so it was one of my favorite games for a very long time because it's very intellectually stimulating and very hard to learn. So how did I manage to become the best player? One of the best players. I'd say I'm probably in the top, maybe in since I haven't played a lot of it in a long time, I'm probably closer down to the top 50, but I used to be closer to the top 10. Now I know a couple people by name that are better than me, but that doesn't mean I can't beat them. So the point of why I'm talking about this is because I learned from a couple people online that were making videos that were better than me, and I took their advice and applied it whenever I was playing, and then I would do that over and over and over and over again. I was either playing the game or learning about the game, playing the game, learning about the game, playing the game, learning about the game. And I would repeat this, and I must have sunk in over 4,000 to 5,000 hours into that game. And I was one of the best, actually. And this taught me the exact same mindset that I needed to apply to my dating life, to my business, in order to become a better individual overall in all realms of human endeavor, as somebody you might know might say. So basically, let's summarize. What do you need to do? You need to, in order to develop confidence, in order to earn that confidence, you need to be willing to go through failing a bunch of times and learning from your mistakes. It's not enough to just fail. You need to actually look at your failure and analyze how and why you failed. So that way next time you can attack again the same thing with a different plan so that you can succeed. The second thing is you need to acquire intel, information, and you need to do some recon on what are you wanting to become better at. So that way you can develop a confidence by learning a bunch of things and then charging at the enemy and applying what you've learned. And the third thing is you need to just be willing to go through it and accept that some people might make fun of you, might be thinking that you're a loser, but understanding that it is only your current self right this moment that is going to be that way, because you can always get better, do better, and become a better individual over a longer period of time. The longer the period of time that you improve yourself on, the better you are going to become. So with that said, I appreciate every single one of you guys watching until the end of the video. If this was educational, informational, let me know in the comments. I would gladly appreciate it if you could tell me what you thought about the video. So far, I've been posting every single day. So if you want to stick around, make sure you subscribe, check out those daily videos, or check out my channel if you want to check out the other videos that I've posted so far. So with that said, have a beautiful day. It's beautiful. It's a beautiful day. There's the sun, there's the blue sky, everybody's happy. Even if you have to get work, it's a beautiful day to be alive. Have a great day, and I will see you tomorrow. See ya.